that this war is not going to be solved on the battlefield. At the end of the day, people are going to return to some kind of negotiating table. The needle is moving more towards the reality of a negotiation.
Foreign Minister Jaishankar, I want to ask you and ask all of you in a moment, the major war roiling Europe. So you get a lot of cheap oil still from Russia, I believe. Cheap
I
energy.
get oil, yes.
Huh?
I get oil, yes.
Yeah,
It's
right.
not necessarily cheap.
But it's
If
Russian.
you have a better deal, I'm willing to look at it.
But it's Russian, and it's a good deal for you, despite sanctions and all the rest of it. It has been said that Russia, China, North Korea, Iran, etc., are sort of forming or have formed an axis of anti-Americanism, anti-Westernism. And I want to know, does India have a role to play, or what do you believe will be the momentum on this Russia invasion of Ukraine and the resolution? I know the Foreign Minister Lavrov is going to speak. What do you think is going to happen, particularly with the Trump administration, who I know they're not in office, but they have very, very clearly telegraphed that they don't want to keep helping Ukraine militarily?
Two comments. One, regarding the conflict, the war itself. You know, we've always held to the view that this war is not going to be solved on the battlefield. That at the end of the day, people are going to return to some kind of negotiating table, the sooner the better. And our effort has been to facilitate that to the extent possible. Now, to be honest with you, that's not always been the most popular thing, at least in some parts of the world. But I do think today the general sort of the needle is moving more towards the reality of a negotiation than the continuation of the war. We are trying to do, you know, the bit I told you about why it's important for diplomacy to come forward.
Yeah.
Now we are really putting, in a way, our aircraft, our legs where our mouth is. We are actually doing, you know, going to Moscow, talking to President Putin, going to Kyiv, engaging President Zelenskyy, meeting them in other places, trying to see if we can encourage, you know, find common threads which can be picked up at some point of time when the circumstances are right for it to be developed. We're not attempting a peace plan. We're not doing a mediation in that sense. We are doing multiple conversations and very transparent about telling each party, saying, look, at the end of the conversation, this is what we're going to tell the other party. We think that's, at this point of time, the most useful country diplomatically. We also believe in this, that we articulate the sentiments and the interests of the global south, 125 other countries who have found their fuel costs, their food costs, their inflation, their fertilizer costs impacted by this war. So there is a constituency out there which says, please do this, please, you know, carry on with this. And quite honestly, in the last few weeks and months, I've even seen this sentiment expressed by European leaders, major European leaders, who are actually telling us, please keep engaging Russia and engaging Ukraine. We welcome that. So we do think that things are moving somewhere in that direction. Your second point about, you know, is there such an axis? Look, perhaps in your world it sounds very effective and dramatic to sort of make this this sort of sweeping assertion.
I didn't make it up.
Yeah,
they did.
No, but in my world, that's not the reality. You know, every country has its interests. They agree some, they disagree some, they work some. Sometimes the same countries work in different combinations in different issues. The reality is much more complicated, much more granular. And I caution people, saying don't go for this very sweeping generalities, because they become self-fulfilling if you actually accept them. Okay. I don't accept that. You know, I do think each one of these is a nation with some history, with some certain self-regard, and each one of them is in it for themselves.
Subscribe to Midday India. Get direct notifications on all our videos by clicking on the bell icon.